blue gardenia, thrown to a passing breeze, but pressed in my book.
The Blue Gardenia from 1953 won my latest poll of films to go and check out. Basically, there were 4 streaming films on Amazon Prime that all looked pretty good, and this one got the most votes, so I decided to go and check it out, and glad that I did. It's an excellent film. I'll give a quick, spoiler-free overview of the story, and offer some thoughts on the film. So the film opens up and we're set in Los Angeles, and we have Anne Baxter playing the character of Nora. She's this very sweet telephone operator, and she shares a place with some roommates, including Anne Southern as the character Crystal, who's a little more sassy and kind of has a Joan Blondell thing going on. Now that evening, Nora is alone as her fiancé is away at war. So she sets up this candlelit dinner all by herself. She's got his picture set up, and it's kind of sweet. She reads his latest letter and discovers, oh no, he has met an army nurse while overseas and plans to marry her. Well, Nora is completely devastated and just decides to accept this blind date request with the character Harry Preble, who is this playboy character played by Raymond Burr. They go to the Blue Gardenia Club together where the food all looks amazing. I love food in old movies, but more on that later. And the music is provided by none other than Nat King Cole. Well, Nora downs a bunch of very strong drinks, Polynesian pearl divers, and gets pretty wasted. So Harry takes her back to his place, and he's clearly got some nefarious intentions, but Nora is clearly plastered and is about to fall asleep on his couch. But he wakes her up with some coffee and wants to dance, and also wants some sugar too, apparently, and gets a little too aggressive. She resists, and then, well, it's not very clear, but seems like maybe she took a swing with a fireplace poker? We don't really know for sure, and then she blacks out. She somehow made her way back home, and later, Harry's place is now a crime scene, as he's been murdered. So the investigators are there looking around, and hey, check it out, it's George Reeves, Superman, playing Inspector Sam Haines. Now, Richard Conte shows up. He plays this reporter, Casey Mayo, and he checks out the crime scene to see what's going on and see if there might be a hot scoop here. Now, I think here's where things kind of get interesting in the story. Nora wakes up in her apartment, but she can't remember what happened. She was apparently so drunk, it's all just kind of blacked out from her memory, it would seem. She reads a newspaper and discovers that Harry is dead, and the police have her handkerchief, her shoes, and her blue gardenia. And they are trying to locate whoever it was that killed Harry. She also sees in the paper that Casey is offering his support in exchange for an exclusive interview with the killer. But will she take this offer, and can she trust Casey? And what actually happened? You know, there's too many questions, and the film just kind of builds on that paranoia and nervousness. And you know what? I'm going to let you find out for yourself how things turn out. Like I said, it's streaming as of this recording on Amazon Prime, so you can go check it out. The Blue Gardenia was released in 1953. It was directed by legendary director Fritz Lang, you know, of Metropolis fame and so on, and it was produced by Warner Brothers. Now, my thoughts on this film. I really love the look and the feel. That careful Fritz Lang direction was great. And Anne Baxter is just a wonderful actress and very convincing in her role. But if I'm honest with myself, I did have an issue, and I'll try to do this carefully to avoid spoilers. As far as the story goes, it feels like this film is trying initially to be more of like a psychologically ambiguous film, and kind of leaves you questioning the whole time what is going on, and making you want to doubt Nora's character. We know she's emotionally troubled from her earlier breakup. She's had a lot to drink that night and had blacked out with this fractured memory. So we, the viewers, are kind of left in the dark as to if she killed Harry or not. And I love the mystery of the film and how there's just that nervousness and anxiety through it as we try to find out what happened. But then when we do finally get to the big reveal, well, if you've seen the film, then maybe you share my thoughts that it really wasn't what I expected at all. It almost felt like they tagged in more of a safe, 50s era Hollywood style ending, if you know what I mean. But you know, even though it wasn't what I expected, I still did enjoy kind of the unfolding of the story as we lead up to that big final reveal. Now, back to things that I did enjoy about this film. Again, loved Anne Baxter's performance. I've seen her in a number of films on this channel, and she had me fascinated in this movie. I believed in her character through the film, and I love that progression. Initially, she's very sweet and hopeful, longing for her man to return, but then devastated from his news that he found someone new, she just falls into heavy drink and a sinister evening with Harry. And from there, she's this picture of paranoia. We see her exhausted, nervous, and uncertain what happened. And that really held my interest. She did a great job as this believable, faulted character, and I loved that about the film. So again, even if the ultimate resolution of the story wasn't quite what I expected, her performance made the film for me. And I also love anything with Richard Conte, who's just always this cool, confident character in whatever he plays in, good guy or bad guy. And I like kind of the ambiguity of his character here. He's not quite a hero, and I was left questioning his motives through the film, about how noble he actually was. Or is his interest in Nora ultimately just about getting a great story? And always enjoy seeing Raymond Burr, especially when he plays like a complete slimeball. And yes, I know he is known as Perry Mason and other, more good guy roles. But to me, when I see him in a film, I think he just shines the best when he's playing a shadowy creep, thinking of films like Rear Window, And here in the film, when he's got Nora at his place, watch out. I mean, he is just at his worst. And as my 3 fans already know, I love anything with an old film that has sort of the authentic flavor of eating out, like the Los Angeles diner atmosphere and even the Blue Gardenia Cafe at the beginning of the film, where Nora has that huge spread of food and those strong Polynesian pearl driver drinks. But I got to tell you, it's just, seeing those hamburgers and coffees at Bill's Beanery. What can I say? I love seeing food in old films like this. And, I watch and I always wonder what it must have tasted like, even in black and white. To me, it just adds a believable sense of realism when you see the food. Like we're stepping back into places that once really existed. And to me, that always makes it feel more real and less like a movie. All right, that's my thoughts on Blue Gardenia. This isn't your typical crime film, and instead explores themes of paranoia and guilt and fear, and how one really bad night can turn a normal person's life into a complete nightmare, all the while keeping us guessing as to what actually happened up until the very end. Anne Baxter really held my interest as the emotional center of the film. She's excellent here, with Richard Conte as that uncertain, supportive character. I love the suspense and the uncertainty. Again, even the ending wasn't quite what I expected. It was still an enjoyable story. Well acted and directed, and definitely one worth checking out.